So as a young man, I was an atheist because the world evidence to me was like, oh, there's no magic. It's all science and what's in front of your face. It's the physical world. So I was always searching. So that's how it started. And then I eventually became agnostic because I realized how arrogant I was. Like, I'm pretty arrogant to say there is no God, absolutely. And then about 7 years ago, we interviewed Bishop Barron. And that interview was real questions for me. Although I didn't realize what was happening, I was being pulled. So anyway, for 7 years, continuing to search, continue to dabble, meet Arthur Brooks, good friend of mine now. And that pulled me closer. Went through some struggles, personal struggles with my marriage, and did the ketamine therapy. You know, I just kept kind of moving in that direction, but I never really took the leap of like faith. God is real. Jesus was real. He did this for us. Never did that. And then I had a crazy experience. Wild, bro.
Well, so when was the last time we did a podcast?
It was 6 years ago?
6 years ago.
Long time. It was a long time. Yeah, it was in the studio was in the gym.
Yeah, we did a little. I remember we did a little mobile setup in the back by the
exactly
by the deadlift rack.
It's exactly.
Yeah,
it's good to see. I mean, I like seeing because at that time you weren't really going hard with the podcast.
No, I was still going hard with just content.
Yeah. And it's good to see now. You're just doing great, crushing.
Yeah, the podcast stuff. I felt like it was always kind of a part of what I did. Like obviously the fitness stuff was like the main thing that I like brought people in, but the videos always ended up me just talking. So I was like,
made sense.
So when I got into podcast, and I was like, oh, I've been doing this forever.
There's longevity in it too, because it's what you know. It's not necessarily how you look, or I mean, you're still young.
Yeah.
But you know, you in fitness, always doing, you know, being able to create content based off how you look. I could imagine how that would get hard as you keep getting older.
Oh yeah.
But your knowledge is going to keep getting better.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's podcasting is like it's my favorite thing to do.
Really?
Yeah, hands down.
I could tell.
I remember when we did it first, I loved it. We had a great conversation.
We did.
Like life, all kinds
of I love it.
How has your show progressed?
Oh, it's I mean, we talk fitness is our expertise. You know, myself and my co-hosts, we were trainers and gym owners for decades, right? And so that's what you hear. That's our main value. But what we also communicate is just life stuff. So we're all dads, we're all fathers. So we talk about raising kids, having family, talk about current events. We have a good time. You know, there's some entertainment in that, which we learned as trainers. You know, if you want to be a good trainer, you got to learn how to, people have to enjoy being around you. Otherwise you're not gonna be very effective.
Yeah,
you can't just train them.
I remember that those days.
And so that's been the show ever since. And so now we're sitting at 9 years later, we were past 250 million total downloads. Over 250.
Dope.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild,
dope.
man. And I never thought I'd be in like, you know, media or whatever. I just like talking about this stuff, you know.
Yeah. Why did you originally decide to get into it?
I mean, long story, but you know, at the time I owned a studio for personal training and wellness, and I had created a fitness program with at the time a client of mine who's now our producer, and he said, you know, if you ever want to sell something online, I know a little bit about online marketing. And that's kind of how that started. And at that time, I had known of my co-host now, my partner, one of my other business partners, Adam Schaefer, because when we were coming up in the gym industry, in the company we worked with at the time, 24 Hour Fitness, was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I know.
So
you started the same place.
crazy.
We were like top producers, right? So I knew of Adam because he was like one of the guys that crushed it. I crushed it. And I had saw him again on Facebook through something unrelated, and I had created like the sales material, marketing material for it. And I said, you know, let me ask him his opinion. So I sent him over the marketing material for, you know, MAPS Anabolic. That's the first program that I created. And he called me up. He's like, bro, we got to meet. He's like, we got to meet because this is great. So we sat down, and him, myself, Justin, who's our other co-host, talked for like 4 hours. We just talked about the fitness industry, what we want to do. And we're like, we got to make the podcast. We got to do this on a podcast. This was 9 years ago. Like 9 years ago, podcasting wasn't what it is now.
Not even close.
Not even close. There were still people who were like, what's a podcast?
Yeah.
But we like the medium because it's long form. And you know this, man. Communicating fat loss sounds simple, but when you're working with everyday people, not fitness fanatics, it's easy. Fitness Fanatic's easy. You tell me what to do, I'll do it, no problem. But you talk to Mrs. Johnson about losing 30 pounds and keeping it off for the rest of her life. You're not going to do that effectively in a reel or a caption. It's a conversation. No. It's coaching. It's guidance.
Yeah.
And so podcasting is perfect for that because we could talk to our audience for an hour and a half every week and coach them through the process. So that's why we chose podcasting. And it just took off. It just took off from there. Very rapid. I mean, I remember it was the first month we were in the new and notable section on iTunes, and we just kept going and launched the workout program a year later. We waited a year because we wanted to build a good relationship and authority and trust with our audience.
Yeah.
And we launched it and crushed. And so then that was it. I sold my gym and everybody left their day jobs and that was it, man.
Full-time since.
Full-time ever since. And I mean, love it. We get to help people. We still get to train, coach people essentially just through media and then get to meet really cool people. I got to interview Jordan Peterson a little while ago, which was kind of, surreal because I loved his content.
I didn't see this one. Did you talk to him about fitness stuff?
No, I mean, so that's the thing, we named the podcast MindPump because we didn't want to necessarily be pigeonholed in fitness.
Yeah, that's smart.
And so I just like what he has to say about.
Did you ask him how many pull-ups he can do?
No, bro,
I'm
no
actually
fitness
really
stuff.
curious.
Really?
Yeah.
No fitness stuff whatsoever. It was all the stuff he talks about.
I bet like 4.
You think you'd only do 4 pull-ups?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. He's bro, that guy's so smart. He talked to He's brilliant.
He is. But does that
I feel
mean
like he does a pull-up with his brain. He just look at the bar. And
maybe he could will himself like 7.
Yeah. I don't know. He looks pretty healthy now. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
have no idea how many pull-ups I don't.
So how much have you seen the fitness industry change since you've been a part of podcasting? Well, 10 years essentially.
Bro, it's been, look, you've been in it either as long or almost as long as I have. I know I'm older than you, but
14 years.
Okay. All right.
Well, even longer than that, but I've been on the
How
internet.
long have you been working out? Like really in the gym?
15, 16, 17. So
Okay.
it's 17 very serious. It's 15 consistently, but not knowing what the fuck I'm doing.
Okay.
Just kind of like push-ups and
Yeah.
pull-ups and bench pressing and not squatting, not deadlifting,
Yeah.
not working on strength, just kind of bullshit. 17, knowing exactly what I needed to do, focusing on kind of powerlifting
Mm-hmm.
and then never stopping. So I'd say like 16, 15 years old.
Okay. So,
And I'm 35 now.
so like 20 years, something like that.
Yeah, I'm really bad at math.
Yeah.
Unless we're adding up 45s, I ain't telling you.
Yeah. So for me, it's been, I've been doing it professionally for over 20 years, but I started as a kid, so it's been 30, right? Bro, it's changed a lot. Look, I'll tell you what, when you started working out, how many women did you see in the free weight area versus now?
None. 0.
That's a radical
Maybe 1.
Bro, that's a radical change.
You know what's crazy? I never thought of that. That might be one of the most like,
That's massive difference.
yeah. It's like, depending what gyms you go to, it could be 1 for 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, we just recently recorded an episode, it was like in the last 6 months, why women, maybe a year ago, why women should bulk. Like, no way I would have done an episode like that 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Women would have like bulk,
Yeah.
skip. It got tons of attention and views and listens because women now are like, I want to build. I want to be strong. I want curves. I want,
Yeah. I'll never forget. I mean, I was a trainer for 10, 12 years. And that was the number one thing you hear from any girl ever. Oh, I wanted this, but I don't want to get too big.
Yeah.
And I'm always like,
good luck.
It doesn't work that way. It's never worked that
try
way.
getting too big. No, so that's a huge strength training in general used to be like, oh, if you just want to be big and look like a bodybuilder. But now, and the data now supports this, right? Which we knew as trainers.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one form of exercise for health, longevity, getting lean, all that stuff, strength training is way more effective. It just is. Speeds up the metabolism, shapes the body, sculpts the body. The data shows this gives you the best longevity. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do other forms of exercise, but the point is the how people view it now has completely changed. Gym footprints are changing. When you look at like big box gyms now, when they're building them, they're devoting more time to strength training than they are to cardio and group X. That was different.
I think I helped change that a little bit.
You were definitely a part of it.
Yeah. Part of it for sure.
Definitely a part of that wave for sure.
Yeah.
And like I said, like women didn't want to lift weights. That's a massive change. Here's another big change. I'll tell you what, man, listen, I used to run 35, 40,000 square foot big box clubs. Okay. And in that whole facility, we'd have one squat rack and it would have dust. Nobody would do it. Barbell squat. Nobody did it. Deadlift. I used to deadlift in my early 20s and I'd have members stop me. You're going to hurt your back. What is that? What are you doing? You shouldn't lift that way.
So stupid.
You go to gyms now, I'm talking about run of the mill, big box, you know, it's not a powerlifting gym. It ain't a bodybuilder gym, just a gym.
Yep.
And they have platforms,
Yep.
bumper plates. So radically different. The understanding around the value of strength training has changed dramatically.
I think the internet did it.
CrossFit started it.
Yep.
CrossFit got people to squat and deadlift. And then social media and the internet showing women are now see what it looks like. Oh, that's what it looks like when a woman lifts weights. Not like, because before it was like pro bodybuilder, you know.
Yeah, they thought they were just going to be a fucking massive bodybuilder.
Yeah,
like,
veins and shit.
What?
That's not going to happen. Yeah, so it's very different, and you're getting now conversations around like protein and supplementation is different. Reverse dieting, people understand that now, whereas before it was like just run and don't eat anything, you know, type of deal.
Yeah,
So,
or like one of the things that always kind of irked me, people would talk about, like, I want to lose a bunch of weight before I start training.
yeah,
Where the did that ever come from?
it's a total misunderstanding of how the body works, complete misunderstanding of how to do this the right way, completely, and it set a lot of people back. It put a lot of people in a bad situation. I wrote a book. I had a book published where I quote this one study. It's a trip. It's a trip. The study's a trip, right? But it highlights what you and I have seen and what a lot of people in the fitness space have seen as trainers for a long time, which is, I'll tell you the study. Scientists went and looked at a group of modern hunter-gatherers, the Hadza tribe. So they live the way that humans lived thousands of years ago. Like, they don't got electronics. They hunt and they gather. They don't even have modern agriculture. They want food. They got to go kill it or they got to go find it. So they're moving all the time compared to the average Western, you know, couch potato. Like, they're not watching TV or on the internet, or, you know, they're moving. So scientists went and studied them and actually measured their metabolic rates. How many calories?
How the do you do that?
Very complicated ways of testing. So they did. They tested their metabolic rates, and the result was that the modern hunter-gatherer, the Hadza tribes people, okay, burned on average about as many calories as the average Western lazy couch potato. And so at first you're like, how's that possible? How's that possible that guy who throws a spear at an animal and then runs after it for 10 miles until it collapses and then drags it back, how is it that guy's burning as little calories as my neighbor who works in front of a computer, sits at a desk and watches TV all day? How's that possible? Well, it's possible because that's how we adapted. Our bodies evolved to not burn a ton of calories through just activity, because otherwise we wouldn't be here. If you and I were hunter-gatherers, we would not find 3,000 calories a day. There's no way. We'd be dead if our bodies burned tons of calories by running and moving all the time.
Oh, so you're saying their bodies then just like
Adapted.
they were burning less calories, but while doing more work.
That's right. That's right.
The efficiency was off the charts then.
That's your body. Our human body learns how to be efficient with that kind of activity.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. When you were working in gyms and stuff, you ever see those people that they don't lift, they don't do strength training, they don't feed muscle, they just every day come in, get on cardio for an hour. That's all they do. Cardio bunny.
Yep.
Cardio. What happens to them? They're still kind of fat, kind of flabby.
They stay the same essentially.
Because their body adapts to that kind of activity. Strength training speeds up the metabolism. Feeding your body to build muscle speeds up the metabolism. It gets you to burn more calories. So that study shows what we've known in gyms forever. And this is now people are starting to get it. And because of social media, we can communicate it now effectively. So now I could talk to the average person. They'll hear me break it down. They'll go, oh, no wonder when I cut my calories and I'm eating 1,500 calories and I initially lose 10 pounds and then my plateaus and I'm doing cardio. Then I double my cardio, lose another 5 pounds of plateau again. And now to keep it off, I got to do all this crazy cardio. I'm barely eating anything and I'm still overweight. Like, how's this happening? Well, your body's learned how to burn a few calories. Like, go get strong, lift some weights,
Yeah.
bump your protein, reverse diet. and then watch what happens.
Why are people so afraid of that? Because it's hard.
Because they think they're
hard.
They think they're gonna look like you on accident, and they think they're
yeah, it's like, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, no. So yeah, so it's a lot's changed, bro. A lot's changed, and we're getting a lot of people now to understand like the real, like how to make this really work in the long term.
Yeah.
But this conversation was the one that I had with clients all the time. Like you said, I'd have to get female clients, and I don't want to lift because then I'm gonna get big. Like you won't get.
And then you always pull. I'll be like, well, give me an example of like someone's body you want to let you like, and it's like obviously someone who works out and lifts, and I'm like, well, how are you gonna get this without doing that?
Yeah.
I guess
my favorite were the dudes that would be like, yeah, I just want to work out, but I don't want to lift because I don't want to get too big. Like, listen, bro, you're not gonna get too big, bro. Good luck trying to do that. If you imagine you work out the next day, wake up, oh, I'm too big, I knew it.
Yeah, that's
gonna happen.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. I wish.
Yeah.
I wish.
A lot of.
It's not going to happen.
So also too, like what's come along. I know you started working with Transcend. How long ago did you start working with Transcend?
Oh yeah. The peptide space is wild, man. That is
supplements in general. All right, guys, quick interruption for the podcast. Transcend Company. So a lot of people message me and ask me really often about like the supplements, the stuff that I take. Lately, I've been really, really a huge fan of BPC 157, and I've gotten all this stuff from Transcend. Their quality of all their stuff is top notch. Like everything is pharmaceutical, everything is like FDA compliant, everything is like above board, really amazing. Lately, besides the BPC 157 for inflammation, because my knee had been giving me such a problem and it just kind of made me avoid squatting in general, even though I promised like I wasn't just avoiding it in general, because my knee was actually up. But also something I've been really into lately has been NAD plus and glutathione. All these things you guys can get from Transcend, along with TRT, along with tons of other peptides, tons of other things that you guys might be interested in. Give it a shot if you guys want to. I promise you, whether you're taking TRT or peptides or supplements or anything, if you're just trying to feel better, you're trying to look better, you're trying to be better, you need to know this stuff. It's so important. And Transcend is a really easy way to do it. Go to transcendcompany.com/RAWTALK to get 15% off if you're a first-time customer. Go give it a shot. I literally cannot recommend this enough. Get your blood work done. Do not wait. I cannot recommend it enough. Transcendcompany.com/RAWTALK. First time, 50% off. Do it right now. Let's get back into this podcast.
That space has always been kind of crazy, but then the peptide space, that I really started to dive into, I would say over the last couple years. I had heard about peptides, never really dived into them. I understood hormones. I understood all that. I knew what they did to the body, but peptides I wasn't, super privy on. And then I started to kind of pay attention because I was looking at studies on some of these peptides. And then we had some experts on the show. Dr. Seeds is one of them. He's like one of the leading experts on peptides. And I asked him, I said, what's a peptide? What's different between a peptide and a drug?
Right.
And a peptide, your body produces on its own. It's a naturally occurring signaling molecule, if you will. So why is that different? Because when you use a peptide, your body knows what to do with it. It has safeguards against potential negative side effects. Doesn't mean it's side effect free or it's perfectly safe, but there's a difference between creating a chemical in the lab to try to shoehorn it to a receptor to create some kind of reaction.
Like
versus
testosterone.
Well, no, testosterone is also natural too, right?
Right.
But it's different than like, imagine trying to create a chemical that's like testosterone, but nothing like testosterone also. Like I'm going to create a brand new chemical to see if it could do what testosterone does. We don't know what the side effects are going to be. A SARM is a good example, right? Yeah. Like, okay, it's going to work on the receptor, but
we don't really know what else
long-term effects. I mean, we know what testosterone does. I give you testosterone. I know what it does. I know what it's going to do for it, right? So with peptides, it's not like a drug in that sense. Your body produces it naturally. It's got its own. Your body recognizes it. It doesn't have the same potential negatives, and there are thousands of peptides and actions in the body, and we can look at those, work with them, and many of them get the body to kind of work in a more beneficial way. We're not necessarily forcing actions to happen. And that's loose, right? What I'm saying is kind of loose. But that's in essence how a lot of these peptides work. So I started looking at them like BPC 157.
It's a favorite of mine.
Oh yeah. Wild, right? Thymosin beta or TB 500 for recovery. Some of these growth hormone releasing ones are pretty interesting. And now what we have, I mean, for the first time in history, and I try to communicate this to the fitness space because I don't fully think the people in the fitness space know what's coming. These GLP-1 agonists, right? Brand name Ozempic.
Yeah.
But, the peptide itself, like semaglutide, tirzepatide. This is the first time ever we've ever seen a medical intervention with this kind of an effect. We've never seen anything like this. In the past, we had like these stimulant-based ones, like fen-phen or whatever, but they, weird side effects and they're stimulants, and we've never had a.
What's that? What was that supplement that's for fat burning that like straight up can it's like literally burning you? It's like DMP or something.
Oh, that's not a supplement, bro. That's an ingredient in dynamite.
Yeah. But it's a thing people took.
I think it's DNP.
DMP.
Yeah, that's bodybuilders would fuck with that shit.
I remember hearing about that.
Oh,
never tried it.
No.
I've always thought about it. But it's like killing you.
That'll kill you, bro. Yeah. So I never touched that either, but I have friends that compete, and I'd ask them about it, and they're like, "Oh, bro, you take this, and it's like you get a fever."
Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard all this shit.
Sweat, and
like literally melting you.
Yeah, and your sweat's yellow, and it's like weird.
Those motherfuckers.
Yeah, no, crazy. Bodybuilders are crazy, bro. But GLP-1s are wild because someone will take it and lose 10% of the body fat. Body weight, 15%.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of negatives in this though. I think people aren't recognizing like the muscle wasting of it. Like people.
So there's a lot. So let's get into that, right? So GLP-1s don't cause muscle loss. In fact, they're muscle preserving. So then the question is, why do we see muscle loss? Well, one of the effects of a GLP-1 like semaglutide is it crushes your appetite. You just don't want to eat or eat as much. What happens to anybody when you dramatically lower their caloric intake, don't have them lift weights, and don't have them make sure that they eat enough protein? The body adapts by paring muscle down. I don't even care. You could be on steroids. You could be on all the tren and testosterone you want. If your calories are hella low, your protein isn't high, and you're not lifting weights, your body will pare muscle down. It's just what happens.
Yeah.
Because your body's trying to slow its metabolism down to meet the caloric intake. That's what your body's doing. It's adapting. Oh, we're only getting 1,000 calories a day. We better learn to burn 1,000 calories. And one of the best ways to do that is to shrink your muscle, because muscles burn so many calories.
Cost much, yeah.
So that'll happen no matter what. So the reason why you saw muscle loss with GLP-1s is because what they did in the studies is they said, here's your GLP-1. They'd give it to them, and that's it. So the person just ate less. Whatever they were eating before, they ate less of.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they were eating less protein than they were before, which probably still wasn't even high. Eat less calories. Nobody's lifting weights. They're not doing any of that stuff. So what you saw was what you would typically see. You would see weight loss and muscle loss. Now, the truth is, this is where it gets wild. This is why I tell everybody in our space, like, buckle your seatbelts, because these GLP-1s are culture shifting. They are going to shift and change culture the same way birth control did, or the same way antibiotics did. You use these, first of all, it effectively reduces your appetite, very effectively. Like, you get someone who has problems with eating, all of a sudden they don't even think about food. They don't want to eat. So that solves and I use the word solves loosely. It makes them eat less. However, if you keep the protein intake high and you lift weights and strength train, you will dramatically reduce the muscle loss. In many cases, not lose any muscle. And in fact, this is what blew me away. So I went to it was a World Peptide Conference in Las Vegas. I did a talk up there, and I saw a study that was done on this next generation GLP-1. So you have your when they're called single agonist GLP-1s, double agonists. So semaglutide, then tirzepatide. Now they got this new kinds that are come out that are called triple agonists. And I thought that the GLP-1s beginning and end of story, the reason why they work is they make people eat less. That's it. You lose weight because you eat less. That's it. And I bet you if you ate the same calories on versus off, you'd see the same results. So if we get this group over here, you put them on a GLP-1, and then this group over here, you have them eat the same low calories. you're going to see the same weight loss, same fat loss, same results. It's not going to be any difference. Well, they did that. They did a study where they took a group of people, put them on a GLP-1, then they took another group of people and they just controlled their calories, but they didn't put them on the GLP-1. And then they looked at, do they get the same results? The group on the GLP-1, same control for calories, right? Lost twice as much body fat and lost far less muscle and had far less metabolic slowdown through that process. And then to add even more, when they came off, they gained weight back slower than the other group. So their metabolism was maintained much more. Now, the reason for this, so this blew me away because I was like, oh, we're dealing with like again, a medical intervention.
This is like a serious fat loss.
This is as close as we've ever gotten to the magic pill.
Yeah,
it's not a magic pill, and I'll get into it because the potential for abuse is very high. And with any culture shifting medical intervention, we're going to run into some problems, and I'm going to just predict and theorize what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
But what we're dealing with is something that, so the reason why they lost less muscle and burn more body fat is because GLP-1s increase and improve amino acid and glucose disposal into muscle. So they actually increase or improve the body's ability to preserve muscle. So they're actually muscle preserving. In fact, there's animal studies.
Like glucophage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So in animal studies, they improve muscle health and athletic performance. I think in low doses, you're going to see people use these to help build muscle. I think
Interesting.
Yeah, in low doses, you also are seeing autoimmune benefits. So this is weird. And there's also some other weird reported effects and there's studies on this now. So the verdict's out. But you're hearing people on semaglutide who are like, yeah, I'm eating less, but I also all of a sudden don't want to smoke cigarettes, or I don't want to gamble, or
no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where
dude.
does that, so that it's coming from somewhere in the gut?
No, the theory is that the hedonistic aspect of overeating, right? Because that's what you're dealing with, right? You're dealing with this kind of hedonistic, pleasurable effect.
The dopamine thing.
Yeah, that's why people will overeat, right? They're like either running away from feelings or they like the way they feel, whatever. They think it modifies that hedonistic aspect or experience. So there's carryover, not just with food, but with other behaviors.
Or maybe just because with food, you're having less of those moments that overall you crave less of those moments.
I don't know, because other appetite suppressing things didn't have that effect. They think it modifies behavior.
Holy
This is wild,
America
bro.
needs this.
This is wild.
Whoa.
This is wild, right? So
Wow.
Now there's the verdict's out, there's studies on it, but there's lots of reports. And the doctors that I talk to who work with them are like, oh yeah, it's weird. People they don't watch porn as much. They don't want to drink as much alcohol. They don't want to, I'm getting reports like that. There's studies on it for autoimmune issues where they're now studying it for, forget weight loss, like you got psoriasis or, other eczema or other autoimmune issues, Crohn's, that it might benefit. Okay, so now that I sold the out of it, let's talk about the potential.
Yeah.
'Cause I know right now people are like, give me a bottle.
Yeah, right now I'm thinking shit, I'm gonna hit a transcendent.
Well, because also we interviewed Dr. Tina. She's excellent. She's also expert in this. She microdoses GLP-1s. So
that's what I was thinking the second you brought that
yeah.
up.
So she says she likes to use it for microdose. She doesn't try to hammer people's appetite. She'll microdose it, and for some people, it's not even for weight loss. She'll have people with autoimmune issues and stuff that she'll microdose for those benefits or whatever.
Have you got any reports on that?
Yeah, so I microdose tirzepatide, and I experimented with that, and because I have gut issues that are probably autoimmune connected, I'm 8 weeks in, and my gut health is healthier than it's ever been.
Whoa!
And I have no appetite suppressing effects. I don't take a big enough dose. I take a tiny little dose just to see. Yeah. All right. So the negative, the potential negatives, obviously there's potential side effects. It delays gastric emptying. If you take too much, you could develop issues there. But besides that, bro, the potential for abuse. Now that you're hearing all this stuff, now think of the bodybuilding and fitness space.
Yeah, that's where I was going with it.
Yeah. I'm 12 weeks out. Boom, hit my GLP-1, right? Or the chick that she's not obese. She doesn't have this big problem with eating, but she just wants to lose 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Or I just want to lose a little bit for the summer. Or this is how I control my body weight is I'll take it or I don't. Rather than learning and understanding how to develop a relationship with food, developing behaviors around it and all that stuff. Plus there's and here's the, in my opinion, negative. If you don't learn how to develop behaviors around nutrition and exercise, they're already selling it this way. The pharma industry is already selling it as lifelong. Oh yeah, you go on this, you just stay on it forever.
Man,
you just stay on it forever. They're already, the pediatric doctors are now advocating for this as a first line treatment for overweight adolescents. Yeah,
this is like the greatest problem that we have with all this sort of stuff that benefits us is like the shift of, oh, this is just the fix.
Yep.
But like at the core, I don't think the core of the thing is ever going to change, where it's like, are you sleeping enough? Are you eating enough food? Are you eating the right stuff?
Yeah.
Are you working hard enough?
And why are you doing those things? I agree. I would not advocate for it, because if it does affect the hedonistic behavioral relationship in your brain, and who knows, right? Developing brain of a child, your brain doesn't stop developing until you're 25. So it's super plastic when you're a kid. That's why when you're a kid, you can learn 3 languages and not have an accent, right? Who knows how, this could affect the developing brain and then cause permanent, right? Like, so I'm not a fan of that. I am a fan of using these properly as a coach. Like, I could think of many clients I've worked with where I wish I had a tool like this. Like, they just couldn't, people struggle, man. Like, food is the most abused drug. So I could see how, like, okay, let's use this. Let's break the chains from this addiction you have for food. But then now, while we're on this, let's work on behaviors that can help and stick with you forever. Right now that we're not strengthening this behavior that you had before, where you were stressed, you reached for, donuts or whatever. Now that you're not strengthening that, let's build another behavior on top of it so that we can take you off this. And then,
But those are always the harder parts when it comes to all of this.
And then there's also this, bro. Let me ask you this. Of all the benefits you get from working out, how many of those benefits come from the end result, and how many benefits come from the struggle and the challenge?
Almost all of them from the struggle and the challenge.
That's right.
Like the mental fortitude, your ability to feel like believe in yourself. So if you're just like taking this and avoiding all that, I don't know, where does that end?
Listen, if I took a helicopter and flew you to the top of Mount Everest, beautiful view, wow, this is amazing. Is it at all the same like climbing the mountain?
Not even close.
Not even close, right? So that's the other thing and this is why I try to
most
communicate.
people just want to hit the top.
And then they think they'll get the same thing. Have you seen the data on people who win the lottery?
Yeah, lose their money.
Why?
They don't know how to manage it.
They didn't earn it.
They didn't know how to make it.
It doesn't mean the same thing. It's not the same thing. You don't get the value of that process. So if I snap my fingers and made everybody jacked all of a sudden, would they have the same benefit? Not even close. So that's the other part that I try to communicate to, we have a lot of coaches and trainers that listen to us. And I'm like, listen, because some of them are like, oh, is this going to take my job? Or people just going to take this? I'm like, no, people are going to need coaches more than ever. Because, well, first off, you got to strength train while you're on it. So here's the good news for coaches and trainers. We just talked about how strength training is more popular than ever, mainstream wise. It's going to get even more popular because, I've looked at predictions on this. GLP-1s in the next 5 to 10 years, you're probably going to see at least a third or half of America is going to be on them, maybe more.
That's insane.
And all of them are going to be educated that they need to strength train. They're all going to be told, like, you need to lift weights because otherwise you'll lose muscle. So you're going to have a whole bunch of new people who are going to look for trainers and coaches to teach them how to strength train. So that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Value of protein, the value of building behaviors. I think that's going to grow. So I think coaches have, I think if you're a smart coach, you'll see this as an opportunity, but it's going to change things, man. We're going to look back at this and say, it's going to be like before GLP-1, after GLP-1 is what we're going to look at it at.
Yeah. I wonder if I don't know what's going to happen though. Cause I think like, if I just from doing this for so long, or just more people do it in an abusive way.
Yep.
Than a strategic way. It's like, this is my Band-Aid. Nothing else matters. I see more of that going to happen.
I do too.
Which then, though, like you said, to what you said, which is a good thing for trainers and people in this industry, that there's going to be a way bigger need for guidance.
Yep. That's so, my goal right now, when I saw this and I started looking at the data And so Adam, my co-host, he's like, look, I'm going to go on a GLP-1 normal dose, not because he needs to lose weight. He didn't have to lose weight. He's fit. But he's like, I want to experience this so I know how to talk to this. So he went on it, and he's like, bro, he goes, I don't even think about food. He goes, he's a big dude, right? 6'3", 230. He's like, I could go on 500 calories a day. No, not even trip. And he's like, we need to speak to this. We need to get ahead of this. And so what we're trying to do is get ahead of this and create the narrative around it so that there's proper use. Because otherwise what's going to happen is you're going to get a lot of people lose weight and not necessarily get healthier. Maybe they'll get healthier from the obesity issue. Here's the other thing too. If you just cut your calories, because there's another part to the health issue that we're epidemic, right? We call it the obesity epidemic, but there's another side to it that a lot of people don't talk about. Dr. Gabriel Lyon talks about this all the time. It's not just that we're over fat, we're also under muscled. So being under, in fact, if you look at heart disease, diabetes, cancer, a majority of, for example, heart disease and diabetes is due to obesity, but there's a sizable minority representing tens of millions of people who are not overweight. They're not overweight and they get a heart attack. They're not overweight and they get diabetes. What the hell is going on here?
No muscle.
Yeah, under muscle. Insulin sensitivity is terrible. Their muscle is full of fatty deposits. If you look at the data on like grip strength, so grip strength is like a proxy for whole body strength, right? There was a study done less than 10 years ago on college-aged males' grip strength. Their average grip strength was equivalent to like a 65-year-old man in 1985.
Cool. What the weak?
Oh,
weak, dude.
Weak. So okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a bunch of people, put them on a GLP-1, have them just eat way less, not strength train,
get even weaker.
And what we're gonna have is we might solve some of the overweight issue, but now we're like under muscled even more. So maybe other issues are gonna pop up. In fact, as you get older, one of the greatest risk factors for an older person is just loss of strength. They fall down, they hurt themselves, and they die. So, there was a saying in medicine. I used to train a lot of doctors, and they used to say, for their older patients, break a hip, die of pneumonia. What they would say. I've seen that before.
So meatheads kind of got something going for them,
bro. This is the
dude.
era.
This is our time. Dude, I feel so empowered right now,
dude.
Holy,
for reals. You're going to get more average people, everyday people inquiring about like building muscle. Even though we're seeing it now, we're going to see it way more as we continue. So
it's exciting.
Yeah. And you want to get ahead of it, So like the peptide space in general, I think is revolutionizing medicine. I think, forget GLP-1s for a second, all the other peptides that you can use for regeneration, for health, for insulin sensitivity, sleep, cognitive function. I think it's going to crush a lot of pharmaceuticals because their safety profile, their effects, their downstream effects, the fact that you could still get them at compound pharmacies. So like Ozempic costs thousands of dollars, or you could get semaglutide, same thing, just one's brand name, one isn't, way less.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very good thing. And then you throw in the GLP-1 and big food, right? The snack food industry, they're sweating. They're literally having meetings about this. Like, this is true. You can look it up.
Well, I heard that they were going to start making food in relationship to this drug itself. As like, this is like for an Ozempic person on Ozempic or semaglutide.
They're already seeing drops in sales because of GLP-1s. So
they say that for the first time in forever, like McDonald's did like its least revenue.
They're freaking out.
Yeah,
they're sweating.
Yeah.
Now think of all the drugs.
There's gonna be not a $1 menu, an Ozempic menu.
Yeah, dude,
I swear.
I mean, they're sweating. They're losing money like crazy. There's a lot of pharmaceuticals that are at risk of going out of business. So think about it, right? You get a lot of people lose weight.
Drugs.
Oh yeah,
gone.
Replacing a lot of them.
Yeah.
So what the pharma industry is doing is they're going to dump a ton of R&D
and then
into GLP-1s.
Then how do we keep this expensive?
Yeah, well, I mean, how do we capitalize?
Yeah.
Thankfully, it's like I said, you can still go to compound pharmacies are allowed to make these, so the price will be down. Hopefully, pharma doesn't figure out a way to get the government to like say, no, it's got to be brand name.
Oh, that'd be terrible.
Yeah.
What do you speak to, like, because like the peptide space, I work with Transcend, you work with Transcend. I know they do an amazing job, but there's a lot of like, isn't there like bootlegging of this sort of
Gray market.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just because the way the laws work, you got to, I love and hate this about the fitness space. Supplement industry was like this. Remember in the early 2000s when you could buy steroids, basically Superdraw?
Yeah.
And whatever.
Pro hormones and
yeah.
shit.
Oh, pro hormone.
That's what they called them.
Bro, Superdraw is freaking stronger than Anadrol. I
Yeah.
mean, powerlifters will take that now and say, oh, I love it more than.
Yeah.
I used to buy that over the counter. I was, as a 20-something-year-old kid, messed up my hormones because of that. But because they found a gray market kind of like loophole.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing with some of these peptides. So if it's sold as a research chemical, so you'll see these companies, not for human consumption, but you'll buy peptides. That's how they get around it. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Talking with Dr. Seeds, he's like, look, if you're off a little bit with the formulation for the peptide, which nobody's checking, right? Nobody's checking if it's gray market. It's for research, purposes
this
only.
Is the gray area.
Ain't nobody checking. So you could get BPC 157, but it could be off a little bit. He goes, we don't know what that's doing in your body long term. He goes, I mean, you can inject that if you want. He goes, but I wouldn't. When you go through a company like Transcend, first off, it's with doctors, so it's prescribed. And then they're working with actual pharmacies. So they're working through FDA regulated pharmacies, same standards.
Properly.
Same standards, right? They have to follow a certain level of standard because they're also making pharmaceuticals. So, dude, don't go through. I would not go through the gray market. And I get it. I was a kid too at one point, and if you told me, you could have told me anything would have built muscle, and I would have just done it. Especially if a big dude told me.
Too. Yeah.
But now I'm 45 and I got 4 kids and a little wiser. It's like, what was I thinking, man?
Yeah, I did a lot of dumb when I was younger too.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, you want to go through a company that works with like legit pharmacies and works with doctors. And also the doctor can monitor your blood work and make sure that what you're doing is okay.
Yeah, that's key. I mean, that's the most key thing in all this, whether or not like you're taking in whatever supplements or peptides or TRT or whatever it is, or steroids, or you're a bodybuilder. I think the blood work thing is the most important thing that no one really now, because I think a lot of people talk about it now, but you can get so much out of something that is so simple.
Yes.
Like see where you're at, whether you're on anything or you want to be on anything or you want to be taking it or whatever. Like if you know where you are, it makes your life so much better.
Way better. And like these growth hormone releasing peptides are wild, man. Like ibutamorin, a lot of people know what that is. It's not a SARM. Everybody's like, it's a SARM. It ain't a SARM. It's a mimic. It's a ghrelin mimic. You look at the data on how much that raises your IGF-1. It's like taking, 2 or 3 IUs of growth hormone, and it's a peptide.
And that's just the natural sort of.
That's your body producing itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you're on this like longevity dose of growth hormone, but you're taking a peptide type of deal. And there's other ones. Tesamorelin will raise that. My wife takes tesamorelin. She had to lower her dose because her IGF-1 got too high. Doc's like, oh, it's like you're on big dose of growth hormone. We got to lower this a little bit. You ain't trying to be a bodybuilder. So I mean, and you do that with this through blood work.
Exactly.
What do my labs look like? How do I feel? Oh, no wonder. She was telling me, she's like, my joint. One of the side effects of too much IGF-1 is you'll feel like your wrists and your hands will be a little, painful or
achy,
whatever.
Yeah.
And so she's like, oh, no wonder. So she dropped it and feels great now. But yeah, it's a wild space, but I think it's also the coolest time for anybody. Now, I want to be clear, anybody watching this right now, you're some kid who hasn't figured out how to work out consistently and you eat like, and you're not getting good sleep, a peptide ain't going to help you.
Yeah. It's weird though, how like that will forever be a conversation because that's supplements in general. That's everything. Like everyone is looking for that magic pill.
Yep.
Like even we kind of sound like we described it 10 minutes ago.
We did.
It's never been that way. None of these things are ever going to be that way. And like, even down to like what we were describing, even the thing closest to it could then create more issues in the opposite direction if you're not doing the most basic things, which is like, are you actually training enough? Like, are you strength training? Are you sleeping? It's those things that, for some reason, I don't understand why that is so hard for people. I guess because they don't like it. It's not
hard
enjoyable.
work. Yeah, it's hard work, dude. And also when you're young, I don't know about you, but I didn't believe it. I remember when I was a kid, I was working out. I started lifting when I was 14, right? Skinny kid, that's why I started lifting. I remember when I was like 15, 16, we had this family friend, big dude, right? Big bodybuilder guy. And I was like, oh shit, I can't wait to ask him like what I need to do. Cause I looked at him, I was like, he must know what I need to do. And I remember he sat me down, I asked him, his name was Joe. I'm like, Joe, what do I got to do? I want to get big. He's like, all right, here's what you got to do. He sat me down, right? And he goes, it was, oh, bro. And I'm a stupid kid because I didn't take any of his advice. But he sat me down and he goes, this is what you got to do. Eat a lot of chicken, eat a lot of eggs, eat a lot of milk, tuna fish. He goes, I want you to go to bed early every night, get good sleep. And he goes, and I want you to lift 3 days a week. I want you to squat, deadlift, press. Just do that. And I remember thinking while he's talking, I'm like, this son of a bitch, he's fucking lying to me. You don't want to tell me.
And it's like
the secret.
That's the secret.
Hey, I thought he was full of shit. I thought my dad told him, just tell him to do this other shit. Don't tell him, Didn't believe him.
So crazy.
He was giving me the right answer, That was, if I did that at that age, it would have been amazing. It took me so long to figure that out.
Bro, I must have had that conversation with like literally probably 1,000 kids, exact same conversation. Yeah. And I literally get asked that question. If I ever see someone in person, at least 2 out of the 5 people will come up and ask me that question.
And they're probably thinking the same thing. Oh, he's not telling me the secret or whatever.
Like, and this is the thing too, even if we're having this conversation, we're talking about steroids and all these things, like, yeah, these things make this stuff happen faster, but none of it just does it for you. Like the hard work, the sleep, the eating, like those things never change.
How many people do you know? I already know the answer to this. I feel confident I know the answer to this, but how many people do you know take a ton of gear?
A ton.
Barely look like they work out.
A ton.
Yeah, because they haven't figured out how to train, how to eat, and how to sleep.
That's one of the most common things I've seen.
And I mean, we're talking about stuff that works, right? Anabolics.
Yeah, I'm talking about motherfuckers on trend who are like, yo, I still can't figure this. I'm like, dude, did you sleep good last night? It ain't your trend. You drink enough water?
Yeah. No, I knew a guy when I used to have a gym down in Palm Springs, and that's close to Mexico, right? So I'd have these trainers drive down to Mexico, come back with us. And I had the sales guy that worked for me. Ben was his name. I won't give his last name. And he was on like grams of a week, like just kamikaze. Okay.
Oh, dude.
And if you looked at him, you'd be like, I don't know, maybe he works out. And he was like, it's got to be fake. This has got to be fake, And I'm like, no, it ain't fake because this dude's knows what he's talking about, and knows what he's doing. He looks very different. And I knew his lifestyle. The guy didn't get good sleep, drank, worked out like an idiot. Yeah. The answer's in the basics. It's in the consistency. And then when you get that down, then you can add some of these more advanced things, and then you'll see some changes. Yeah. But it still doesn't compare to doing those basics.
What about some of the health supplements like the NAD and the glutathione and all that stuff? Do you take any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so glutathione's interesting. Master antioxidant. You'll probably see liver enzyme benefits. I think what's more valuable about glutathione is how it can help with your immune system. I know that during COVID, they saw a really strong correlation between low glutathione levels and really bad infection.
Yeah.
For people who drink alcohol or maybe liver enzyme issues or whatever, glutathione's a good thing. It's a good general antioxidant for overall health. Injecting it seems to be the best way to use it.
I want to kind of talk about that because it's when I started, and I think probably when you started, like it was all pill based.
Yeah.
And what is the actual? I don't know if you know studies on this, but the difference in efficacy as far as like injectable
liposomal glutathione has some efficacy, but nothing's going to work like injecting because it bypasses the liver.
Yeah.
So injecting glutathione is always going to be the best, but liposomal glutathione is okay, especially if you take it consistently.
That's the stuff in the paste normally, yeah?
It's either in a paste or they can even do it in capsule form.
Yeah.
But like, let's say you're getting sick and you're like, oh shit, I got to boost my glutathione. It's too late if you haven't been taking it for a while. But if you have injectable, boom, immediate, raise. NAD is an interesting one. NAD's got the data on it for longevity is pretty fascinating. I've tried a lot of different ways of using NAD, and I never felt anything until I've done the sub-Q injectable version of it. Yeah. That one I can kind of tell. I can kind of tell a little bit of energy boost. I think If you need it, you'll notice it more. Because I know people who will use NAD and it's like, oh my God, what a major difference.
I love NAD.
Yeah. Do you notice a big difference from it?
Yeah.
Just energy?
Energy. Yeah, just like sharp. I feel sharper.
Okay.
I don't know how much it actually is doing for the brain, but I just feel,
yeah,
I definitely feel sharper.
Yeah, I think if there's, if you need it, then you'll notice a bigger difference than if you don't necessarily need it. Peptides are like that too. I used a peptide called MOTC, and I must have needed it because it was like a huge difference in how I felt in energy. And then I know other people have taken it, didn't really notice much from it. Dr. Seeds kind of confirmed that. He's like, yeah, if you need this signaling peptide and you use it, you'll notice a big difference. And some people maybe not. And I like that. I like that it's more individualized.
Yeah.
Then I'm not forcing the body to do something. That it's kind of like, okay, you need this, so you'll notice a big difference. Some of them seem to be great across the board. BPC 157. I have yet to meet anybody who doesn't notice pretty good effects from that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're injured. You notice a big effect. My Adam, one of my co-host, tore his Achilles.
It fixed my knee, dude. The BPC fixed that, like my knee. It was so.
It's weird how fast it works.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't even like. I had done like the soft tissue stuff. I didn't even know exactly what happened to it, and I was just like, let me just try this. And I was like, I did it for like probably like a month and a half, and it was gone.
Yeah.
But it was something that was bothering me for like 4 months.
Yep. Yeah.
And
yeah.
it was just like gone.
Yes. Yeah. You'll hear a lot of people talk about that. In fact, when I interviewed Dr. Seeds, I said, what's the one peptide you would always take? He said, BPC for sure.
Yeah.
Oral version is good for gut health too. It's a regenerative peptide. And the animal studies is wild. It's like it will triple it'll cut the recovery time by 2/3 or something like that.
What about negatives for that one?
I haven't heard too much. I mean, you can overdo anything. I think doing too much may have some effects on the dopamine system of the brain. But I have yet to hear anybody say that that's an issue. I think you can kamikaze yourself with any peptide and notice some negatives.
Yeah.
And I don't put it past any, bodybuilding type, individual to do that. Oh shit, if this much works.
Yeah.
10 times as much is going to work even faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peptides don't necessarily work that way. I don't think anything works that way. So, but I have yet to hear, of any potential negatives. I know it's more effective when it's direct. So in other words, if you have the injury, to put it near the injury.
Right.
I use BPC systemically. So I just do it sub-Q just for overall inflammation and stuff.
Yeah.
And love it. Love the way it makes me feel.
What do you think are some of the most effective? We'll do muscle building and fat loss supplements. Fat loss supplements first.
Supplements or peptides?
Both. Let's say
Okay.
like a stack. All right, guys, quick interruption for the podcast. VersaGrips, check this out. If you guys have been looking for hand grips, or if you use like the wrist straps, whatever it is, there's tons of different versions of this stuff. VersaGrips has been around, like, honestly, since I first started training. I remember it was probably one of the first products that I noticed. I was like, this is actually a good product. Super, super high quality. But basically what it is it's a strap that hooks on your wrist essentially with a nice, like, solid Velcro. It gives you like a strong material, like a rubber feel that can wrap around the bar so that when you're hitting back, I mean, I've even done it wrapping around the bar and I'm hitting chest, but it allows you to think less about your grip. And when it comes to like bodybuilding and building muscle, as far as creating like a strong mind muscle connection or just getting the most out of that workout, a lot of times if you grip super hard on the barbell, when you're doing like rows or movements like pull-ups, etc., you're engaging a lot more of like your front delt. So your body's ability to develop your back properly is hard for so many reasons, because number one, you can't see it, so it's harder to get a full contraction. But certain grips like this one, the VersaGrip, allows you to like wrap the bar and almost just like hold instead of squeeze really tight with your hand, so that you can get the most out of your back and your back muscles when you're working, even curls essentially. But VersaGrips is a really good tool that allows you to get the most out of your back workouts, bicep workouts. Like I said, even I've done it for chest. So give it a shot right now. Go to versagrips.com, put in Bradley 15 to get 15% off. I'm assuming the entire order, but give it a shot. Check it out. Some of the best grips on the market. Let's get back into this podcast.
Yeah. Well, supplement, you're not going to beat creatine. There's nothing builds muscle.
Yeah, creatine.
Yeah. There's nothing that'll creatine is just across the board. It's the most efficacious supplement across the board, and also the most studied.
Also good for your brain too.
Bro, it's good for muscle. It's good for, well, first of all, anything that uses mitochondria, which is everything. So it's good for skin,
your entire body.
It's good for hair. It's good for your organs. It's good for your brain, cognitive function. It's good for heart function. It helps build muscle. It's the best. Here's where I'm going to get controversial. The best fat burning supplement that exists. All right, everybody's going to freak out right now.
It's also funny because remember when creatine was like a steroid to
yeah,
everyone?
I know. Oh. And then I took it, dude, bro. I've been taking creatine nonstop since I was 16. So when that first came out, EAS.
Why are people afraid of it? Do you think?
Well, a lot of people now know it's health. It's a wellness supplement now. People are like, oh, take this for health and wellness, not just for building muscle. I think women are afraid of creatine because they heard that it makes you gain a little weight on the scale.
Yeah, I'm gonna get big.
Yeah. You know what? It's so funny about that. Yes, you hold more water. Okay, but wait, stick with me for a second. It's not bloat. There's water in the muscle and there's water outside the muscle.
Yeah.
Bloat is outside the muscle. Inside the muscle is hydration.
Yeah.
Here's what happens to a woman when she gains a pound of intracellular, intramuscular water.
She looks thicker.
Her muscles look rounder and fuller and firmer.
Yeah.
They feel firm. They feel good. That's okay. Don't freak out because the scale went up a little bit. It's actually lean body mass that you gained.
Yeah.
It's not bloat. It's not the same thing. But that's why I think they freak out. But it's also, as in terms of being a fat burner, it's the most effective one because there is no supplement that burns fat. But a supplement that effectively helps you build muscle will indirectly help you burn body fat through the metabolism boosting effects.
Yeah, but I want it right now.
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. But yeah, I mean, so that would be the big fear. But creatine is like, that's king of all supplements. Besides the supplements that'll fill a nutrient need. So like if you have a deficiency, like magnesium or vitamin D, I mean that's life changing, right? If your vitamin D is low and you take it, it's life changing. But creatine's at the top. Next would be anything that, or right there would be anything that fills a nutrient need. Protein powders are good if you don't hit your protein targets. Other than that,
so nutrient needs. So for a second, I'm going to talk about that. What are the most common things that people are deficient in? Vitamin D, I know is one.
Vitamin D, magnesium, zinc are near the top. For women, you'll see iron,
and all those things also affect how well you sleep.
Oh yeah. If you lack an essential nutrient, your body's not functioning the way it's supposed to. So like a personal story, like my dad, my dad was just getting lots of pain, aches, and now he's been working hard. He's an immigrant. He's been working hard labor since he was 9. So he thought it was just his body, but he was getting aches and pains everywhere. Anyway, he got his vitamin D levels tested and they were low. Started taking vitamin D and the pain went away. Because one of the side effects, low vitamin D, is pain in your body. So is depression. Depression is a side effect of low vitamin D. Low magnesium, side effect of that is anxiety. So you get all this, some people might get like all this anxiety, not realize that
I've experienced that firsthand 100%.
So you took the magnesium, noticed a big difference?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh
like
yeah.
Within the day.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Like while I was experiencing it to like, whoa, I'm good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So that's another top one. So those would be up there. For peptides, for muscle building, the growth hormone releasing ones are good. Ibutamorin, you'll gain more mass on that than the other ones because it stimulates your appetite too. So you'll just eat more. So for like guys who want to pack on size, you'll gain a good 6-7 pounds of lean body mass on ibutamorin if you make sure you eat right on it. So those ones are pretty good. The recovery ones are good. Like if you take BPC with thymosin beta, you'll notice probably after a good 8 weeks or so, like muscle fullness and like you could work out harder and build muscle faster. It ain't like testosterone. It's not like going on testosterone, but you'll notice some of those benefits.
Because that question I get asked a lot, what can I take that's like, obviously nothing's like testosterone, but what can I take that will give me or can elicit like similar effects? Everyone's trying to find that.
The growth hormone releasing ones will be the closest. They're not like testosterone. Like you want testosterone, you're gonna, especially if your testosterone is low, you'll feel that. The growth hormone ones, after 6 to 8 weeks, you'll notice you're putting on some muscle. Yeah. You're a little bit leaner. I've done it on myself, and the difference between me on stuff that raises growth hormone or not is about 3 pounds of lean body mass and about 1% body fat. Doesn't sound like a lot, but for someone like me who measures and tracks things, I mean, that's significant. Percent body fat. Normally I'd have to adjust my diet for something like that. So that's everything staying the same.
Yeah.
We'll do that. The ibutamorin will pack on some size. That one will for sure. But your appetite. Yeah, I don't know if you've tried that, but you'll feel your appetite.
I haven't tried that one
Oh
yet.
yeah, so it mimics ghrelin. So ghrelin's like the hunger hormone.
Yeah, if I'm hungry or not. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so you take butamorin, just next thing you're like, oh, I'm on a bulk.
Make sure, yeah. I remember, what did I take back in the day before this was the thing?
Ibutamorin's MK677, I think is the chemical name. Or
You know what I used to take? GHRP6.
yeah. So
that
there
was
you go.
OG.
Yeah. So that's still around.
That's like not even. It's similar.
Yeah. So that's that. No, well, it doesn't work. It's not I don't think it's a ghrelin mimic, but it does raise growth hormone. Testosterone, I'd say, probably has the best effects in that sense in terms of raising your IGF-1. And now it's for fat loss too, right? Raise growth hormone, you get a fat loss and muscle building kind of effect. You could take now. There's also, they sell IGF-1 LR3, which is IGF-1. So you're getting those effects of like taking growth hormone, except you're not. And then the rest of them I would say should be individualized for kind of your goals.
This is my favorite thing about Transcend working with them is that like because I get my blood work done really regularly, like say like every 3 months.
Yeah.
And they just see my blood work and they'll just send me supplements.
Yeah.
Like knowing what is like off or what can be better.
Yeah.
Like I just got a bunch of like
have you done the cognitive boosting ones? Like dihexa or
so I have to I did that originally. I stopped after I was getting vertigo for like unrelated reasons.
Mm-hmm. So you went off everything just to make sure?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what's causing what, because I had got like, I think I got an ear infection and I just am not as like, I don't get pain like I used to because I think I grew up getting so many ear infections.
Oh.
So I think I had like an underlying ear infection and then eventually it went away. Because have you ever had vertigo before?
Oh yeah, bro.
I've had it though. I've had it though where like, it was because, the crystal, and then you do the Epley maneuver and you like lay on your head.
That's what I had to do.
So I did that before every other time I got vertigo and then it was gone. This time I did it and I was like, oh, it's not going away.
Yeah.
I was like, what? So something else is causing it.
Yeah.
Because vertigo is one of those things you're just like, you try and do research and it's like anything can cause it.
Yeah.
Except for that one, obviously with the crystals is very specific where it's like you can do this movement and it goes away. And that thing really worked for me. But this time was so different. I was like, I did it and I was like, it's sustained for like 3 weeks.
Oh, did you have to go on antibiotics?
I probably should have, but I didn't. I always try to avoid antibiotics.
Yeah.
I just figured it was an ear infection. I was just going to like pound it with like vitamin D and different antioxidants and shit. And it's just time because I just like to avoid antibiotics whenever I can. But it eventually went away. And I do want to get back on the dihexa because I remember that being really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. So dihexa, people.
Cass, you got to send me some.
Yeah,
Transcend,
so dihexa raises BDNF in the brain, or it acts like BDNF. So BDNF is brain-derived neurotropic factor. It's like miracle grow for the brain.
Yeah.
So when BDNF is high, more creativity, neuroplasticity.
Yeah. You know what I did it with? Little microdose.
What? Of what?
Mushroom.
Oh. Yeah.
You ever mess with mushrooms?
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah, little microdose mushroom and dihexa.
Did you see the study? Have you seen the studies on mushrooms that they
Bro, mushrooms are.
Did you see what they just did a study on this. So they think they know now how mushrooms work in terms of like changing people's behaviors. It resets your default pathway or mode. It's like hitting Control-Alt-Delete on the computer.
Starting over.
Yeah. So this is why people,
Yeah.
well, so if you look, have you seen the studies on psychedelics and like depression and alcoholism?
Not in detail, but I've read, but not in detail.
Oh, it's wild. Like and this is shaking up the mental health industry. People will be like treatment resistant depression. Okay, very hard to treat. Obviously, treatment resistant, nasty. They'll have people go on do ketamine therapy or psilocybin therapy, and you'll see like a 70% cure rate. Cure.
Fix.
And then they'll test them again months later. Still good. That's wild.
Wow, off.
Done.
Yeah. Well, isn't this like kind of why you're getting conspiracy theories? It's like that's such a bad thing. Stay away from it for so long. I feel like it was a thing because remember they were doing these studies time ago with acid and all this. It's like this is so bad.
Well, this is not a theory. This is what happened. You had the administration at the time had a counterculture movement that was really they were scared of, right? So they looked at this counterculture movement, anti-war, protesting Vietnam,
Yeah.
and they couldn't throw them in jail because they weren't breaking any laws. They're protesting. What do we do? So what they did is they took the drugs that they used and they made them Schedule 1.
So fucking stupid.
That's,
I get it.
That's all true. That's all documented.
Yeah, that's real.
That's why weed was a Schedule 1 weed, right?
Dumb.
Schedule 1, right, is because they said, oh, here's all these hippies using mushrooms, weed, and acid. Now, there's another side to it, which is I don't think they're innocuous. However powerful psychedelics are with helping you, you can also fuck yourself up mentally. Like you could give yourself PTSD or whatever because you had a bad trip. Or so I'm super supportive of using them in a setting with a therapist. Like I've done ketamine therapy. I did that. Actually went through and did legit ketamine therapy, and that was
How was that?
Life-changing.
What's the biggest thing you noticed from it? Because you've done mushrooms, how could you relate it to it?
Oh, it was way different. Yeah, way different. So you take enough mushrooms, you're gonna see. Ketamine's not like that. Ketamine's disassociative. So
it sounds bad.
It does, right?
It sounds like I don't want that.
Yeah, no. So what it does is when you're on ketamine, you can visit trauma that your body kept you from visiting because it was protecting you. But now because of the dissociative effects, I can look at that trauma and then I can process it. So what'll happen on ketamine, it's a trip, right? What'll happen on ketamine is you'll remember or see shit that you didn't remember before because your brain was keeping it. So if you ever have, I don't know how your childhood, but if you had a traumatic childhood, if there's blocks of time that you just, I don't remember. Like I don't remember.
Oh, that's my life.
Okay. So that's hallmark.
100%.
So that's hallmark trauma. So what that means is whatever happened during that period of time, your body and brain was like, just forget this.
My life feels like it started at like 13.
Okay. So whatever happened before that was so traumatic to you that your body and your brain is like, we'll just not let you remember this because it's too much. So if you go on ketamine, what'll happen is that it'll start popping up because it's there and you'll start to remember it and then you'll be able to process it because it didn't go away. Like all that blacked out time is still driving your behaviors. So if there's that you do now that that you'll do something and then you'll be like, why the fuck do I do that? Like, why do I react that way? Why do I keep attracting the same shit? Or why do I keep doing this stuff? It's because that trauma
I'm ordering this right
is
now.
Still pulling. I'll connect you.
I'm dead serious.
No, I'll connect you.
I'm not kidding at all.
Yeah, no, I don't think you are. I'll connect you with the people that I work with.
Okay.
We'll do it off air. But that trauma is still pulling the levers in your behaviors. So without you realizing it, that's why when you look at it logically, like, why do I do that? Why do I react that way? Why do I still attract the same people? Why do I still do the same? Why do I still whatever? It's because it formed your personality and who you are to protect you. Kept you, at one point it was a good thing. At one point it kept you safe.
Yeah.
Now it's dysfunctional. Now it's like, I am safe. Why the fuck am I still doing this stuff? So you do ketamine therapy. What you do is the way I did it is you do this lozenge. You sit with it for I don't know how many minutes. And then you spit it out, and then you lay back. So you have your therapist sitting over there, and then you lay back. You put an eye mask on, and you go into it with an intention. But what comes up is whatever wants to come up. So like I'll tell you like one of mine, right?
Yeah.
One of my first experience. So I don't have any big major traumas in my life, but I definitely had a lot of small things that happened that kind of shaped and formed me. And I'll tell you one of my experiences. So this was actually the first time I did it. My wife did the same thing. Hers was different because she had some different experiences. But I had a big issue with crying. I just couldn't do it. It just didn't work. It just didn't happen. So like
I don't have that problem.
Yeah. Well, so,
yeah,
so for me, it just didn't. Like somebody very close to me had cancer.
Yeah.
And I watched them slowly deteriorate and die. And I was there when they died. And I remember when she passed away, I remember hugging her and I had my head on her chest and I couldn't cry. It's like, it just wouldn't happen. And I remember I got to the point and then it just stopped. It's like, what is wrong with me? Like I was really upset with myself. Like, what the fuck? Why can't I cry? I love this person. Why won't this come out? Never happened. Then my grandfather passed away. He passed away a few years ago. And my grandfather's been a big part of my life. And when he passed away, I remember I was like, got to the point where I'm going to cry. And then something just shuts off. It's like nothing happened. Even at his funeral, just couldn't make it happen. I don't know. And I just thought, well, this is just how I am or whatever. Anyway, did this ketamine therapy, and I think it was the first or second session. I wasn't even thinking about this. I always think about other stuff that I was going to work on. I take the ketamine, spit it out, I lay back, and my memories were popping up of those two people. And all of a sudden, boom, tears. Like I processed it, cried like a baby. And I remember being like, oh my God, like this is wild. Like I couldn't do this before. Fast forward, I go to my next ketamine session, and I'm like, I'm going to think about that again. And I didn't have to cry anymore. I did already. It came out. I got to process it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas before, I think it was so painful that my body was like, you're going to get to this point and we're just going to mute. And that was my problem. My problem was I had this ability, and I still have this ability. So here's the other thing. People are afraid that they're going to do this therapy and it's going to change them. It makes you better. Like I had this ability where my co-host will talk about it, where, I went through a divorce when we started MindPump. Very hard, right? Married for 15 years, kids. And I'd be devastated. I'm a family man, love my children. It's like really hard to send your kids away every other week. And I remember I'd come in and they'd turn the camera on and I just turn it on. It's gone. I'm just doing this thing. My partners would be like, I don't know how you do that. Like, it's like you're not even going through anything. That's how I learned how to deal with it, is I would just turn it off. But I never knew how to turn it back on. It was just off all the time. Now I can go back. Now I can feel, whereas before I didn't feel nothing. I was just like a robot. Yeah.
So how many sessions did it take? And you still have a noticeable difference? Like you're...
Oh yeah, dude. I'm different.
Then the question more so is your ability to deal with things now. You're more able to...
I'm more in touch with for me. So it's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah.
But for me,
to feel it is there. So once you feel it, you can move.
You know what my motivation was so I have 4 kids, right? I have 2 kids from my first marriage, 2 with my wife now. And my older kids are teenagers, and teenagers are hard because like they're doing their own thing. You don't have a lot of influence. They don't hang out with you. And I was just struggling with some certain things. And I realized that I could only connect with them as deep as I could connect with myself. Like I could only feel or empathize with feelings that I could feel. If I can't feel them, I could look at someone and be like, okay, I see that you're upset or whatever, but I don't know what that feels like.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to be a good dad. Like if I'm raising these kids, like I gotta be able to handle, deal with this. So that's what motivated me. So now I'm way more in touch. I understand what's going on. I empathize. Like my family tells me like, oh man, you're way more connected.
Damn, that's like life changing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, 100%.
And how many sessions was that?
10.
10.
Yeah, so it's 10 weeks.
And how long ago was that?
It's been a year.
And it's the same.
Yeah. Yeah, because once you process and move through these things, that's you now. Yeah. So it's not like a drug, like you take a drug and that drug makes you feel better. It allows you to work through what you need to work through. So, I mean, if you do ketamine therapy, it's not like you take it and you're better. You're going to go through, you're going to take it through it. You're going to work through it.
Just like bodybuilding.
But like, yes.
You still got to do the work.
That's right, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. You still gotta, yeah.
Everyone wants like, what's the magic
But
pill?
I mean, it's, hey, listen, without it, I couldn't have. I don't think I could have worked through anything because I didn't have access.
Yeah.
I didn't have access. Yeah. Dude. And that's, hey, compound pharmacies make that too.
Yeah. How do you think we convince people to do the work? I know it's a very broad.
We got to sell it better.
How do you sell something better that is hard? Because that's the thing. People go, it's just, they know it. Like whether they say it or not, it's hard. It's difficult. It doesn't feel good. It's like training.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable. But nothing comfortable makes you better.
No.
Why are people so afraid of it?
Again, because it's hard. But, years ago, I was on a podcast and this quote went viral. And my partner still teased me about it, but it's true, man. It's an old quote. I didn't create it. It's a spiritual quote you'll hear in many practices, but the man who loves walking is going to walk further than the man who loves the destination. So if you don't learn to enjoy the journey, or at the very least respect and value the journey, then all you're going to be falling in love with is the destination. And here's what happens. You think your life's going to change when you're a millionaire. get your millions and then realize that ain't it.
Yeah.
That's by the way, that's a fucking scary bad place to be. That's why you see celebrities committing suicide. They got all the money, they got all the girls, all the drugs, and why are they killing themselves? It ain't about the destination. It's about learning to respect and value the journey.
Yeah.
So, and maybe maybe someone's not going to believe me because they're like, yeah, easy for you to say because you've done this and that. Look, I'm going to tell you right now. If you want to, the secret to this life is to respect the journey and the struggle because it ain't going away. The struggle ain't going to go away.
Yeah.
And one of the worst things you'll ever realize is you're going to get where you think you're supposed to get and that everything's going to change. And then you're going to realize nothing changed. And that's a scary place to be. That's when you're like, oh, what do I do now? Like I got jacked. I got money. I got the girl, whatever. What do I do now? That's scary, man. So realize it before you get to that place where you think everything's going to change, man, because it ain't.
It's interesting. I think the internet is making this a lot harder for people.
Yeah.
Because the internet gives people the opportunity to see like the best in everyone's life.
Yeah. Well, it's going to take people like you to sell this because here's what we're competing against. We're competing against, I'll use fitness as an example. I have to sell that it's going to take you a year. It's hard work. You got to change your behaviors in fundamental ways. I got to sell that better than the guy who says, take this pill, 30 days later, you'll lose all the weight.
Yeah.
So how do I beat him? I got to sell it better than him. So what we got to do, when you have influence and people are listening to you, is you got to figure out how do I really communicate this so that people get it? And it ain't easy.
But I think the thing that I could speak to directly to this is like, if I use my life as an example, like everything that was difficult made me someone that anyone actually cared about. Like everything that I have is because like I went through something that wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why I have all this other cool. Because I didn't get into this thinking like I'm going to be a podcaster, I'm going to be a social media influencer. Like the time when I got into it, I think we spoke a little bit about this years ago, but there was no examples of like, this is how you do social media, and this is how you be a fitness guy, and this is how you make money. There was no examples. And I was just a part of doing it, but my part of doing it was just going through the things that I was doing, which started as a trainer, started showing like just literally what I was doing. And all I was doing along the way was showing what I was doing and talking about my relationship to it and how it made me feel.
Yeah.
And as hard as my childhood was, and then as hard as like all those moments was leading up to everything, like I have everything now because of all that I went through. I have everything that I could have ever wanted because I had to go through a bunch of that I didn't want.
Yeah, that's a fact.
It's a literal fact. It's like objectively just a fact. So it's like, I don't understand. I mean, obviously I can't speak to everyone. Not every single person is going to listen to this message, but like that is a real truth. And the way that I could share or talk about anything in any conversation is because like I've either experienced it or I'm not talking about it.
Look, man, you're talking about wisdom. The world lies. It lies to you. It tells you that hard is bad, easy is good, that you're going to find purpose and meaning in things, and that you need to use people when the truth is use things, and purpose and meaning comes from people.
Yeah.
People now, you hear this now, this message still gets promoted like having kids, right? Having kids. Oh, that sucks, bro. You can't do anything. It's so hard. Look at the data. The data will show you this. When you have kids, you have way more purpose and meaning in your life than when you don't. Is it harder? Yeah, it's harder. It's way harder, man. Why is it harder? Because I love this thing way more than I love myself. So now it's hard.
Purpose.
Now I really care. Yeah, dude. You want to be, look, young men watching this right now, you want to become a man having something that you love more than yourself for reals. That'll do it. That'll make you look at things a little bit differently. It's true for women as well. The message tells us that we're, that our value comes from having, look, again, the data will show you this, bro. We got more stuff, more food, more entertainment, more sex, more whatever than we've ever had ever. And depression and anxiety is higher than it's been since we started recording this stuff, since we started measuring this stuff. Why is everybody so anxious and depressed? You got all this stuff because that's not the answer. That's why it ain't in your stuff. So, for the data-driven people, That's the facts right there. So now you got a choice. Do I follow the guaranteed path towards despair, or do I go down this path that and here's the other thing too. We say it's harder, but it's actually not harder. You know what's hard, bro? What's hard is living life with no purpose, no meaning, and being in despair. And you're that dude that you eat garbage, you watch porn all the time, you're afraid to go out, you don't talk to anybody, you don't go challenge yourself. Your conquests are video games instead of going out in the real world and trying. You don't talk to girls because you jerk off to porn instead.
Yeah.
You eat garbage and because it satisfies you in the moment, but it ain't, really fueling your body. That sucks, bro. That's harder.
Yeah, because I've been there, right? And I think a lot of people are there. I think it's identifying. The hardest part in this changing portion is like identifying that you're there, like looking at yourself for who you really are and what you're really doing and the results you're really getting, and being very, very like honest and hard on yourself and saying, okay, this is where I'm at. All those things you described, I want my life to be better. What am I willing to do? But that's the point. Like that is the pinnacle, like the piece where people go, they either don't want to look at it and they block it out and they just keep on. And then they look back and they're like, what the fuck did I do with my life? Or they decide, okay, like I really want to make this change. So how do you think, and what would you say, or how would you push someone towards like that moment? Because a lot of times when you're in it and you're in that stuff, you're not even looking at it for what it really is because you're afraid of it.
What'll do it, what did it for me, and it's going to be different for everybody. And I do think this is a process. I think some people need to hit a certain point where they themselves are like, this sucks. But this to me was effective. This was powerful to me. It was realizing that whether you're aware of this or not, there's a God that you're worshiping. Okay. So what do I mean by that? We're value-driven creatures. So every decision we make is based off of value. So if I'm driving and I turn left instead of right, it's because left is more valuable to me than right for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I picked this shirt because the shirt was better than the other shirt. I ate this thing because I valued it more, whatever. At the top of that is your ultimate value. That's your God. So if you don't consciously worship something of real good value, unconsciously, what it's probably going to be is either money or power or pleasure or fame. And those are all false gods. So you worship any of those things and you're going to end up in a bad place. So you look at your life. So if you're watching this, listening to this right now, look at your life. Because I know people, I don't worship anything. I don't believe in it. No, you do. Your actions are louder than words, right? So it's how you live. Look at your life and be like, if I were to analyze my life.
And subconsciously, it's still happening.
It's happening, bro.
Yeah.
Look at your life and be like, what am I worshiping through my actions? Like, it's actually whatever, pleasure, because that's all I do is I chase pleasure, or it's money, or it's whatever. That's not a good thing. What do I want to worship? What should I consciously worship? And then look at that. Maybe it's God. I think that's the best point, best one. But maybe it's family, maybe it's connection, right? So I think that'll help do it. And then what you do is you consciously make decisions to serve this thing that you think is worthy of worship versus unconsciously worshiping something that's not worthy of your worship. That's going to lead you down the wrong path. I think that's a good place, to start.
Yeah,
for sure.
Have you ever been in a place like that where you unconsciously worship?
Are you kidding me, bro? Oh yeah. 100%. I mean, that's the story of my life. 100%. This has been a long journey for me, but more recently now, it's much more of a conscious decision. For me, this is my own personal story. Becoming a real Christian, really only happened about 7 months ago. But up until then, this was a struggle. Yeah,
that's really recent.
Yeah, this was
what changed.
Man, I've been searching for a long time. I was an atheist, hardcore. Like I would have debated anybody. You sat me down and debate.
This is crazy. Okay, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
Why did you identify like that?
Well,
why did that start before we get into the God thing?
Yeah. So a real atheist is actually closer to God than somebody who doesn't think about this stuff. Because a real atheist is looking.
Yeah.
Most people don't even think about it. They don't really look, right? If you ask them, they'll give you an answer, but they're not really like, for whatever reason, I was always searching. Like, what's the answer? What started all this? So as a young man, I was an atheist because the world evidence to me was like, there's no magic. It's all science and what's in front of your face. It's the physical world. So I was always searching. So that's how it started. And then I eventually became agnostic because, make a long story short, I realized how arrogant I was. Like, I'm pretty damn arrogant to say there is no God, absolutely. I'm as arrogant as the people that say there is for sure a God. So I'm probably more agnostic. Like, I just don't know. I just don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
And then about 7 years ago, we interviewed Bishop Barron. He's a Catholic bishop. And I found him because he's really, really smart, and he'll debate and communicate anything openly. And I watched him. There was a clip. Jordan Peterson kind of opened me up to the wisdom of religion, because at that point I thought religion was just stupid and whatever. And, Jordan Peterson's done this very well. He's like, actually, there's a lot of wisdom, and it's what built society and civilizations. So it opened me up to the wisdom, but I don't believe in the esoteric or supernatural part. I just said, oh, there's wisdom here. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I saw Bishop Barron do a video on Jordan Peterson, and I liked him. And I said, boy, this would be cool in my podcast to interview him, ask him these questions. So we went down to Santa Barbara at the time. That's where he was located. And that interview was real questions for me. And now at the time, I know what was happening. But at the time, although I didn't realize what was happening, I was being pulled. I could feel it. I feel like, this is weird, man. I feel like I'm being pulled in this direction.
7 years ago.
Yeah, like I'm meeting these Christians, and they're just such good people, and I just feel like I'm really being pulled in this direction. Like, this is weird, but big part of me is like, I don't believe in that magic. That's how I would have said it.
Yeah,
but I was being pulled in that direction. So anyway, for 7 years, kind of just continuing to search, continue to dabble. Meet Arthur Brooks, good friend of mine now. He's a professor at Harvard, and he's Catholic, but very smart scientist. Met him, and that pulled me closer because he's very intelligent, so he could discuss things at that level. Kept pulling me. Went through some struggles, personal struggles with my marriage, and did the ketamine therapy. And, I just kept kind of moving in that direction, but I never really took the leap of like faith, like God is real. Jesus was real. He did this for us. Never did that. And then I had a crazy experience. Wild, bro. So, up until that point, up until the story I'm about to tell you, I'm teetering, but I haven't really taken the full belief, right? I don't think I've shared I don't think I've shared the story on my podcast. So I have a daughter that is going to be 2 soon. She's a year and a half right now, a little over a year and a half. At the time, so she was just turning a year. My wife had noticed some maybe developmental issues with her movement and stuff. Nothing major, like nobody could tell, but moms are very intuitive. So she's like, I think something might be up with the baby. I'm going to take her to the doctors. Took her to the doctor. Doctor's like, I don't know. Let's have her see a neurologist. She took my daughter to a neurologist. The neurologist did an assessment and said, I think she's fine. However, she might, and we can test this, she might have something called spinal tethering. And that's where the spine attaches really low on the sacrum. And what happens is, as the baby grows, the spine will stretch, and then they'll lose function of their lower half of the body. Oh, so if that's the case, we can see it through an MRI. If we do identify it through an MRI, oftentimes we can surgically repair it and there's not an issue. So then we can fix it. However, your 1-year-old's going to have to get an MRI if you want to know for sure. Well, to do an MRI for a 1-year-old can't sit. You ever have an MRI? You're in the machine.
Yeah, you sit there.
You have to sit still with this machine.
Lay there.
Yeah. 1-year-old's not going to do that. So what do? They put them under general anesthesia. And I'm like, I don't want to put my 1-year-old under general anesthesia. Yeah. It's not good for their brain. She's never been under general anesthesia. But then on the flip side, if there is spinal tethering, I want to know so we can maybe fix it. So I'm like torn. Like, what do I do? The neurologist is like, I don't think so, but maybe. Like, do I do this MRI? Do I not? So I'm stressed out. We call our pediatrician, which we love, and she says, I'll do a full analysis, and then I'll give you my strong opinion. So I'll help you guys decide whether or not to do this. So the day of this analysis, I'm stressed, man. I'm like, I don't want to put my daughter under. God forbid she's got a spinal tethering though. So I, for the first time in my life, was praying out loud. I've never done that before. So I'm driving to the pediatrician's office and I'm praying out loud. And the way I'm praying is like this. I'm like, God, I don't know if you're real. I want to believe you're real, but I don't know if you're real. I need you to show me in obvious ways. Like, forgive me if you are real that I'm asking you for this, but you need to show me because I just need to see something that I can't explain away. Yeah. I need help. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. So we get to the pediatrician's office and there was a mix up on the schedule. Oh, we don't have you on the schedule. So it's like argument back and forth at the front desk. Then they're finally like, you know what? We'll get you back in 3 hours from now. We can squeeze you in. So I'm like, so I'm pissed off. I'm like, fine, we'll come back. So then I go to the studio because I'm like, we're supposed to record a podcast. So I'm driving to my studio, and my studio is in downtown San Jose. And there was a parking lot that was next to our studio. And downtown, sometimes you see homeless people or whatever. So as I'm pulling into the parking lot, there's a homeless dude building a fire in the middle of the parking lot. Okay. So like he's got a mattress next to him. His buddy's passed out on some drug. Who knows what he's on.
Yeah.
And he's literally building a fire in the middle of the parking lot.
Sounds very California.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. And this was like, think of homeless. Now think of the craziest homeless person you ever seen. That's what he looked like, right? Crazy hair, like markings and tattoos up and down his face, right? And he's like building a fire, and looks like he's like into the fire, right? So I pull in the parking lot on the far end, and I look at my rearview mirror and I see this dude building a fire. And I remembered a story from my friend Arthur Brooks, who I told you about. Yeah. Arthur Brooks, he talked about, I think it was on my podcast, like if you ever want to give money, I don't remember what the topic was, but he said, if you ever want to give money to a homeless person, one of the best things you could do is ask them for something in return so that they feel like they're doing something for it. And then of course the question is, what the hell do you ask a homeless person for? He said, ask them to pray for you. So if you give a homeless person $5, you give them the money and say, hey, can you please pray for me? And what it does is it makes them feel like they're doing something for you.
Yeah.
And I thought that was profound when I heard it.
Yeah, crazy.
Right?
I never heard that.
Right. It makes sense, right? You give someone money, they're down, they probably, imagine if you were homeless, someone gives you money and you feel like, oh, they got to help me. But imagine now if they ask you for something, you feel good, like I can do something for you. So I look in the rearview mirror. Remember, I'm praying out loud on the way there, on the way to the pediatrician, on the way to the work. And I look in my rearview mirror and I'm like, maybe I'll ask this guy to pray for me, right? But I'm looking in the rearview mirror and this dude's he's building a fire. Dude is passed out on a mattress. I'm like, hell no, this guy's gonna give me hepatitis. I can ask him nothing, bro. I'm not asking this guy shit, right? So I just walk away. I don't even walk past him. I'm walking away from him, okay? So I'm like, I'm not gonna ask this guy for anything. So I'm walking away. And then I hear, excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Turn around. It's the fucking homeless dude. So I'm like, so I walk up to him. I said, what's up? And he goes, have a nice day. So I said, you know what? I said, can you do something for me? I didn't give him money or anything. I just asked him. I said, can you do something for me? He says, sure. I said, can you pray for me? And he says, yeah, I could pray for you. He said, what's going on? I said, we're taking my daughter to the pediatrician today to get looked at. And then he interrupts me and he goes, is it her spine?
Shut the fuck up.
I swear to God.
Shut up.
Listen to me. I swear to God.
No.
Listen to me. I swear to God.
No, bro.
I swear on everything. I mean, it's hard not to get choked up talking about it. It's true. So it hit me like a brick, bro. Like he said, is this something with her spine? So I felt like someone punched me. So I said, yeah. I said, actually, maybe. I said, we're going to get an MRI. We need to see if she has something called spinal tethering or whatever. And he says, I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you. And I said, so after that conversation, I had money in my wallet and I thought maybe I'll give him some money, but I didn't give him any money. I said, is there anything I can do for you? And he said, no. He goes, you've done more for me than society's done in a long time. Thanks for talking to me. Here's a second punch I felt, because the day before that, I had just started reading scripture, which I'd never done before. And one of the first things I read was a story about Jesus and how he said the line, what you do to the least of you, you do to me. In other words, how you treat the worst in society, you're doing that to me. And I remembered that right there, because the guy said, you did more for me than society's done in a long time. So I must have looked like a ghost. I walked in the studio, I sat down in my chair, and my partners were looking at me. They could obviously tell something happened. Sal, what's the matter? What's wrong? And I can't talk. I'm afraid of opening my mouth. So finally I start talking and I start to tear up, and I'm tears are coming down. I tell him, like, fuck, I don't know. That was God, man. He goes, I don't know what that means. But that was definitely obvious. I asked for obvious. He sent me something obvious. So we recorded a podcast after I gathered myself, and I'm on my way to the pediatrician's office. I'm praying out loud again. God, I know that was you. I saw that. I said, but I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Does that mean we do the MRI? Does that mean we don't? I don't know what that means. So I get to the pediatrician. Now, mind you, one of the challenges we were going to have with this test was that my daughter, she's one, she's shy. She doesn't want, when we go to the doctor, she's grabbing onto my wife and buries her head and doesn't want to come off. And if we peel her off to get weighed or checked, she cries.
Yeah.
So I'm already like, how is she going to do this test? My daughter's going to cry the whole time. She's not going to want to do anything because the test involved picking this up, climb over here, reach for this. Can you say this? Can you do that? Right? I'm like, what's going to happen? Bro, I get there. We bring my daughter in there, and all of a sudden my daughter becomes a performer. Everything the pediatrician asked, it was like,
bro, what the
she's climbing, she's reaching, she's laughing, she's interacting for the whole thing. Pediatrician looked at us, she goes, for sure, she's fine. You don't need to do a test. And that was it, man. I was like, that's it. I'm a Christian, 100%. And that was it from that point.
Bro, I'm blown away.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I still get blown away thinking about it, but now I've had a lot of stuff happen since then. But
well, because you said that happened 7 years ago, and you said
no. 7 months ago that happened.
Okay.
But 7 years ago is when the journey started.
Okay, so from 7 years ago to 7 months ago, you just kind of still kind of.
Yeah, the process was slow. It was like acknowledging the wisdom, acknowledging the value, dispelling a lot of my previous notions about Christianity, but I never was able to take that full, like, when you hear Christians say, fully accept Jesus as your savior.
Yeah.
When you hear that, like, I know what that means now. So I was never able to do that. There was always that doubt, that whatever. So that happened. That was it, dude. I'm in.
That's like an unbelievable story.
Yeah.
So since then, what have you done differently?
Everything.
You pray regularly?
All the time. Yeah. 3 times a day. Twice a day is on my knees. So I've always struggled with, I'll tell you one of them. This is a silly one, but it's an easy one to communicate. I've always, my whole life, struggled with lust. Lust has always been a challenge, a weakness. I think it is for a lot of men.
For sure.
And one of the first things I prayed for after this was help. I was like, God, help me with lust. Help me with my issues around lust or whatever. He took it from me. Like, I had struggles with pornography.
Your test
lust.
didn't go down, your test got lower.
Bro, my testosterone. Hey.
I'm trolling you.
I know.
I'm sorry.
No. I'll show you my labs, bro. I'm on TRT plus. My test is really.
Yeah.
It's
TRT plus. Is hilarious.
Yeah, dude. No, man. He took it. I literally didn't want to watch porn anymore. Not that I didn't, like, I stopped because it's bad. He took away my desire for that. Now, he didn't take away my desire because for my wife, she's still there.
Yeah.
But he took that away. Now, that's not how everything works. I think he lets me struggle through a lot of things.
Yeah.
But that one was one that was like, holy shit, it was obvious. My wife, since then, also came on board because she saw and started following my lead with that. Although she was on the same journey, I took that big step kind of first, that real big step. She did, and for her, it took away. She struggled with anxiety really bad. Took it. Like I'm watching it right now. It's wild. Like, my wife is not the same person. And it just changed the way the way I see things, the way I see the world, the way it's helped me communicate differently, on my podcast and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. But I'm new, dude. I'm not like a super. I can't sit here and discuss theology and the Bible like somebody who's well versed. I'm new to this essentially, but yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Wow, man.
Yeah,
that story about your daughter and the homeless guy saying the spinal thing is like, it's insane.
It's crazy. I know every time I share it too, people are like, "What?" Like, yeah,
like
dude,
there couldn't be like that couldn't be more of a clear.
And you know what? I don't think it's going to be like that for everyone. I think God is going to use, if someone's watching or listening and they're kind of struggling with that, challenge. I tell them, I say, I need help. I can't believe I need help. I was such a skeptic. I'm such a cognitively based.
I'm the same way.
Person.
Yeah.
That the only way God was going to get to me was to make it obvious as. That's it. So for me, it had to be like that. It would let me put it this way. If a businessman came up to me and said that, I would have dismissed it. Oh, well, he's a smart guy. He's thinking spine, could have been a coincidence. No, it had to be a crazy homeless dude building a fire
tattoos on his
and he
head?
had to chase me down and then he had to say some other shit to refer to scripture. Like, yeah, all that had to happen for me to be like, no doubt that was real, bro.
That's so beautiful, man.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, so now that I'm in that space, and this I understood before too. I'm friends with people who are, Christians. And since I interviewed Bishop Barron, Father Steve, that runs his podcast, we became really good friends even before I became a Christian because he works out. So Father Steve is like this jacked priest, cool guy, super cool guy.
Sounds like somebody I got to meet.
Oh, he's awesome. Worked out with him. He's awesome. He's bad, right? Like he's jacked, right? But he's a priest, so that's cool. He says that, and I believe this. He said he thinks gyms, he says, are amazing because they're some of the most inclusive, accepting places. You know this, bro.
100%.
You go into a gym, if you're working hard, it don't matter what you look like. It don't matter anything. People like want to help you. They believe in you. Some of the most accepting gyms in the world, the most hardcore.
Yeah.
Period.
It's weird how people think the opposite.
No, it's true, bro. Go to a hardcore dungeon with chalk and rust and you don't know how to work out and you go try and go ask the scariest looking meathead and they'll take their time to help you because it's a wonderful environment.
Yeah.
So Father Steve's like, it's one of the most inclusive. And he said, it's also a great path to spirituality because people get into fitness because they want to look better. But if they stay in it long enough, then they want to be healthier, then they want to be better people, then they accept themselves, then they.
Bro, the gym is just like, it's a representation of like anything in life that you want to accomplish.
Totally.
It's the same exact concept.
Totally.
It's difficult, it's hard, it hurts, it makes you a little bit better.
Changes your relationship to pain. Like I remember I had a client, like when I was an early trainer, I remember one of my first workouts with a client, I had this woman I was training, she was doing tricep press down. And I mean, it was light. She never worked out, right? So I went real light. And I remember she dropped the bar, like she let go of the bar, weight stack slammed. I'm like, what's the matter? She's like, I'm hurt. I'm like, what do you mean? Where's it hurt? And then she's describing to me, I'm like, oh, that's your tricep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's your tricep.
It's burning like
and then
it's supposed to.
Yeah, and then it dawned on me, like your workouts hurt more than a beginner's workouts do because you're advanced, but you have a different relationship to pain.
Yeah.
Do you think there's carryover to to everything?
To everything.
That's right.
But there's also just like that same exact concept of like anything else you do in life is related to the gym. I really believe the gym is like one of the most important things in just human fucking nature.
It's one of the most powerful vehicles for personal growth because it's also one of the most unassuming. Because right now I'm talking about my spiritual, journey, my faith, right? But if I just walk up to anybody, hey, come talk to me. Like you're gonna get a lot of people be like, I want to hear that, right?
Yeah.
But I can walk up to almost anybody and talk to them about looking better.
Yeah.
And they're going to be open. So it's powerful because it's unassuming. Like people get into it not knowing they're on this like personal growth journey. They're just like, I want to have abs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stay on it long enough and watch what happens. It's a growth journey.
It's crazy too because my entire life, like everything I have is through it and from it. Like conversations, like moments that I've had, like aha moments in my life. I'm like, I didn't think of it that way. Like network, people that I've met, everything has come from the gym to some degree.
That's right. You learn, everyone's like, oh, you learn how to work hard. That's true. But you also learn how to fail. You learn body acceptance.
Yeah.
Right. At some point, like I remember at some point, I was like, I'm not going to look like Arnold, but I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
You start to accept yourself. Like some of the best body acceptance you'll see are fitness fanatics who are like in their 60s and 70s because they're just like, oh, this is how it's my body. It's how
You
I
learn
live.
how to communicate.
You learn how to communicate.
Yeah.
You learn, you develop a relationship with pain, what's good pain, what's bad pain, struggle. You see, like you talk to fitness people about their, like people who are really consistent, been doing it for years, and they don't make excuses for their lack of, well, yeah, I know why I'm not getting the results I want.
Yeah.
Versus like a lot of people just make excuses. They blame everybody else.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, it's a great vehicle for personal growth. It's
Fuck,
the best.
I feel like we need to figure out a way to make the gym more of like a thing in the United States again. It was such a cool thing. I feel like it was cool. Like, I don't know if it was the 80s or the 90s or like it was so much more pushed.
Yeah.
Now it's just like,
That's us, man. It's us.
we got to make it cool.
That's us. It's how we communicate it. You know, our goal with my podcast, our goal has always been to we don't target fitness fanatics, although we have a lot of them that listen to us. We're trying to get the average person who is not going to become a fitness professional. They just want to have a better life. That's my job is I want to get those people to figure this out and be able to do this for the rest of their life. That's what I care about. I care about the 90% that are just missing it. And the best way to do that, the most effective way to do that is you got to coach them. So it's a relationship. So we do 5 episodes a week on purpose so that if you get in, I'm in your ear, every day, most days of the week, and I'm coaching you along the way.
You filmed 5 episodes
every week.
That was like, dude, I got to get back to making more content, man.
You make a lot of content. What are you talking about?
I do, but dude, there was a time when I made 1 podcast, 2 podcasts, 3 workout videos, 1 other video, and now I'm just doing 1 podcast, 2 podcasts.
Yeah.
Well, 3 podcasts because I do the full send pod too.
Yeah. But
I love it all.
What? Oh, I was going to ask you, what's the most? What gets you the most? What's the thing that drives you the most? Which one do you enjoy the most?
This.
Yeah. Just do this.
But I miss. I guess for me that my relationship with like YouTube and like filming the vlog or the workout videos has changed because I get in my head like I've done everything because I've been doing it for so many years.
Yeah.
But I always like I even speaking it now, I'm like, but like that doesn't even make sense. It does, but there's still a whole new group of people that are still just
you're also
logging
not
on.
you're also not the same guy though.
I'm not.
Yeah. So you're going to communicate differently now than you did 5 years ago, and you will 5 years from now. So I would say do the thing you love doing that makes you like wants to get up in the morning and wake up.
Yeah.
I mean, you're obviously successful, so I don't know how motivated you are by money, but if you're already comfortable, I would just go with what you love.
Yeah.
And which incidentally probably make you the most money anyway.
Yeah. That's a weird thing how that works. That concept itself.
I know.
Because a lot of people, I think, I mean, I know this firsthand. I remember when I think I might have talked to you about this too. We did that interview, but when I first started making a lot of money in the fitness space, it was through coaching.
Yeah.
It was through the online coaching. That was the first thing that I did that I was like, holy, this could be like this. I didn't even know my life could be like this, finance wise. And I remember so many people would hit me up because they would see what I was doing and they'd be like, oh, I bet you make a bunch of money. I want to do that. I remember thinking like, I never thought like, I was never like, I'm going to make a bunch of money, so I'm going to do it.
No, you loved it.
Yeah. So I think people miss that part of like success. And it just goes back to the thing we talked about earlier about the journey and like learning and like really experiencing it. So you actually have that information from a genuine place to share.
Yeah.
Even like you said, your co-host saying he's going to take this semaglutide to understand what it's like so that he could speak from a real point of like, oh, I actually know because I've experienced it. That concept, it just misses people. And they just go, how do I get the money? And then it goes back to the thing we talked about earlier about what do you worship and what do you focus on and what's your purpose?
Yeah, dude. One of the, what's hell? I'll tell you what hell is. Hell is making a lot of money, being someone you're not, or doing something you don't like. You're trapped. You're trapped. There's a lot of influencers that like that. They're fake, persona. I meet them. I know them. I'm sure
most of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Fake. They're not real. And they're tortured because they're loved for something they're not. And it's not even real love. It's fake love. It's fame. It's not real. So no, I'll turn that down all that. We've turned down a lot of money. I'll tell you what, We've turned down a lot of money because it would have compromised our integrity. But it's always worked out for us. So
Well, that's the magic. One more question. This is completely off of all the stuff we were talking about. Goes back to the supplements and stuff. What do you think about nicotine?
Nootropic. It's got some interesting cognitive boosting effects. It seems to be healthy for the brain in many respects. So it's not like this bad thing. It's the addictive property of cigarettes. So cigarettes are bad for you, but not because of the nicotine. The nicotine is just what brings you back. So on its own, great. Now the challenge with it is it's got some pretty strong addictive properties. So, which is okay if you manage that okay. Like caffeine is very addictive.
Yeah.
But if you develop a relationship with it where if I don't have it, what am I going to do?
That's where I'm currently like, can't tell me I get energy drink every single day. And I'm like, I got to stop this.
Yeah.
Cause I've gone through phases of this and it's hit me again where I'm like, okay, this is like to the point where you drink it. This is like nothing.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what the am I doing?
Yeah. And then you're just taking it to feel normal. Yeah. I did. So I had a challenge with Kratom like that. I took Kratom for a while and then
Isn't that kind of like an opioid though?
It works on the same receptors.
Right.
I was just like, oh yeah, I'll stop. It's not a big deal. And then I would try to stop and I wouldn't. I'm like, this is a problem.
Yeah.
And then I stopped and I had withdrawal for like 3 or 4 days. I'm like, son of a bitch, like this is not cool. So I think you have to be smart. Cause they'll have withdrawal. Nicotine will have withdrawal if you stop. Caffeine, everybody knows what caffeine withdrawal is like. Like stop your caffeine. Oh yeah. And you feel like
what? So what are the best ways to get nicotine? Because like like the Zyn stuff and all that stuff's super popular. It's like the most popular now.
That's probably the best way. Yeah, tablet or lozenge is probably the best way.
Yeah,
because you're not inhaling it because who knows what else they put in those vapes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
definitely smoking a great idea. So probably the lozenges and stuff. The biohacking community likes it a lot. Now here's what's funny. Now here's the thing. Like again, know yourself. Nicotine many times leads to combining it with other things. So you'll see people will take nicotine and then they'll start taking it with stimulants like Adderall because they love its effects. Now they start to develop a bad relationship and it starts to spiral a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's why nicotine and caffeine is so great. Nicotine plus stimulant, amazing. Well, then you start to develop the stacking, bad effect, kind of behavior. So you got to know yourself. Like if you have a tendency towards, moving towards addiction, like I for sure, fitness saves me from addiction because I'm more worried about my fitness than anything. But if I wasn't into fitness, I would for sure have issues with substances, for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
So
this just depends on the person.
Exactly. You got to know yourself for sure.
Bro, this has been amazing. Really, really
appreciate it, brother.
I'm really glad we came back to talk about this again. That God story like really shook me up. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, probably because he's reaching out to you, so he's probably it might be on your heart and your mind a little bit. So which that might be
interesting
because
it has been, and it's so crazy that I somehow got into that conversation, and you just gave me it's just like another thing where I'm like, I need to go deeper.
I tell you what, start with where you're at with it. So you don't have to take this huge leap of faith. Start with where you're at. Like for me was, there's wisdom here. Let me just look at the wisdom. But if you pray, do it with intent. So for me, that meant out loud. Like I'm serious about it. I'm doing this out loud. It felt weird at first. Like, who the fuck am I talking to? But I did it. And then I tell you what, tell God, say, hey man, I'm having trouble with this. I don't believe you're real.
The thing is, I believe it's just like everyone, it feels like a tug of war.
That's what I mean. Tell him that. Tell him that. It's a tug of war. I need signs, man. I need something obvious. Like what's going on? And he'll do it. He'll show you for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
But you just got to be open. But yeah, he'll show you.
I got to come up and do your show again.
Bro,
I'd love
it. We're only an hour flight up in San Jose.
I'll come. I really appreciate you coming down here for this.
No, same here, man. I appreciate it, brother. And I think you have a lot of depth to you for sure that I think your audience likes and like to hear. So yeah, and that's, our podcast, we go into that kind of shit. It'll be a good time.
Yeah.
For sure. I'll have you on for sure.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
brother.
it, bro.
You're awesome.
Thanks, man.
And I'm glad I just love meeting, and not that I haven't met you before, but I like knowing that there are more people that like you really like, you just sitting here having a conversation with you. You could tell that you have very pure and good intentions.
I appreciate that.
And I'm glad that you have a platform. I'm glad that there's tons of people that I think more people should subscribe. More people should check you out. I know you're on YouTube.
Yeah. So our podcast is on YouTube as well.
Yeah. Go show some love. Show them some love. You're I feel it. You know,
Thank you.
And I'm grateful that you spent time with me today.
I appreciate it, man.
brother.
Thanks for inviting me in. You've been very hospitable. I appreciate it, brother.
Cool.
Thank
Right
you.
on. Every Tuesday, I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Turn the post notifications on. Check out MindPump. They're on YouTube. They're on all the, where all the podcast it is. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.